Hello, everyone. Welcome back with Michael and I here on the Satanic Media Agenda Exposed. I know that Michael's been working on these sessions for a long time, and we're going to be closing it down relatively shortly. I think, Michael, you said that this might be the last series that we're going to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, hi dear Brett, hi dear listeners. Yes, it's the last item on the Satanic Media Agenda because in the future, like I always promised, I would like to have more Bible-related topics. But this is really fascinating stuff because if you get the scheme behind it, then you really understand what's going on in the media, in politics, actors, art. What else? And that's what I find interesting, that everything is interconnected with the other thing. It's Bruce Lee, the bigger picture, but at the moment we are still in the United States of America with the Sharon Tate killing of the infamous Manson family. And therefore I invite you to have a listen to this session and the next session, because these two sessions, they will handle everything that I find very interesting around these Manson killings. When we will start, I will appreciate if you do your own research, and please trust no one. Everybody makes mistakes, including us. And so therefore, please just see this as some tips, some hints that you can start your own research. And of course, you are free to have your own opinion. But I can only share my opinion based on all the facts that I found and based upon the Bible and looking for the truth. So let's dive in. Always do your own research, because maybe you got other sources than me, or than us, or who else, and other ideas. And maybe that topic is not that kind of a thing that you would like to dive in, but it's very revealing, I think. So let's start. Sometimes I do not know what is fake news and what's not, but I think that we are approaching the new 2030 agenda and the digital age and all the restrictions, censorship, which is George Orwell, a Secret Service employee, Eric Arthur Blair, actually, with his 1984 on steroids, as Gerald Eberhard so colorful points it out every time. So I think that in the near future, many things will be blocked, not only censored, but totally blocked, so that you only have the big brother, so to speak, the official narrative as the truth. And therefore, I think that AI, artificial so-called intelligence or knowledge or science so-called, is the one to go, so that nobody can interfere or have an argument with anybody, because everything has been dictated and indoctrinated. So I don't care if that is here correct or if it is fake news, but the direction is very clear, that we are heading towards a digital currency, digital surveillance, digital community, where everything is yes, okay for the government, or no, it's not okay for the hierarchy. And
well, why would they be talking about social unrest? Gee.
Yeah, that's Hegelian dialectic. Yeah, you see, you cause the unrest,
moment.
Yeah, and then you have the proper means to deal with the situation and try, for example, to create a police state. Yeah.
Oh man, so it smells so bad.
It never changes. It was right in the beginning when Jesus Christ was walking down the earth. This is 1 John 4. Yeah, this is the spirit of Antichrist, the liar from the beginning. This is a spirit of Antichrist. It's not anything which comes in the future, futurism or so. It is happening right and here, and it happened since the beginning of the fallen world, fallen mankind, when Cain slew Abel. Yeah, that the spirit of Antichrist is also the one who slew Abel. That's a few thousand years ago, according to biblical timeline. So please, would you care to read these verses, because every time I find them so revealing, Brett, that it is not happening in the future, but it's happening everywhere.
Happening right now. Yeah, this is reading like the news that you put up above here. All believers ought to be reading their Bibles and knowing their scripture, because then no one can deceive you, brethren. You know already. Okay, so 1 John 4, verse 1, Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know ye the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. This is the spirit of Antichrist, whereof you have heard that it should come, and even now already it is in the world.
Isn't that revealing, Brett? Here it's been stated that there was a teaching of futurism 2,000 years ago.
Yes.
So I think that the historicism view of everything in the Bible, that is it's quite true. Yeah, so there are two kind of spirits. It's a spirit of truth and a spirit of error. So the spirit of truth, of course, is the one and only Holy Spirit, and the spirit of error can only be the Antichrist spirit, so the opponent of Christ, and Satan means the opponent, the adversary. So,
let me finish the
yeah, please.
The verses. So we left off on the end of verse 3, and even now it is in the world, the spirit of Antichrist. Okay, so verse 4 continues, Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore they speak of the world, and the world heareth them. We are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth not us. Hereby know ye the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. That's the end of the reading.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, in a nutshell. So there are two fronts. Yeah, the one front with the one spirit for the truth, and the other front with the spirit of Antichrist.
Erroneous spirit. Yeah, that's what the world wants. They want the erroneous spirit. You can feel it. It's interesting, Michael. I don't know about anyone else, but I can only speak for myself here. If I ever decide to go anywhere on a Sabbath day and do anything outside of my house, I always notice the quirkiness of it. I don't know what it is about it, but I've just come so far to believe that this is a very important day. The Sabbath day is a very important day, and that you should just use it to talk with your Christian friends and to study your Bibles, and that's about it.
I always hated the Sunday because we were happening to have that lunch with that ugly soup, and everything was so quiet, and I always loved the so-called Saturday, which was the Sabbath, which I did not know at the age of 6 or 7.
You can mention it to your friends that believe in Christ and have the faith, but a lot of them are wrapped up in this Roman Sunday system.
Yeah.
And they just cannot accept the fact that the Sabbath is Saturday.
Yeah. It's a helio
The Jews
system.
are correct in that sense.
It's a helio system, helio sorcery.
That's the thing. You kind of have to do your own research, like Michael said, especially when it comes to the Bible. Don't take the church's word for it. Don't take the pastor's word for it. Don't take any philosophical approach, because that's the wrong way. That's why I don't like to use that term, Michael, historicism, because it's basically a philosophical term.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even like to use it, because to me, it's like what Jörg Lissman was saying years ago when I was studying with him on a daily basis. It's the truth.
Mm.
You don't need a term for it, a philosophical term. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's dive in. You wanted to hear more about the things of the Manson family and what it got to do with Bruce Lee. Everybody knows that picture. Everybody knows that Abraham Lincoln was shot close range, point blank, huh?
Oh, point blank,
Point
yeah.
blank, yes.
For sure.
Everybody knows that Rome was behind it, and this is the assassination. You have to realize that it happened in a theater. Can you imagine?
Well, here's the thing, Michael. Everyone knew, past tense, that it was Rome behind it, and they didn't care much for it because, you're going to upset the apple cart. See how we've been trained?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been trained here in America, Michael, that if you upset the apple cart, then, you're the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much that's how all of these indoctrinations work now. They make it so bad and so hard for you. I mean, just look at the current crisis we just went through the past 3 years, and you know exactly what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We can't talk about this stuff anymore, Michael, without getting censored, and our videos are getting shut down. Well, they will be, I would assume, because we speak out against the beast that's on the rise. And who's riding the beast, huh? It's Roman.
Yeah,
it's a Roman beast.
It's Roman, of course. My point was that I'm not going into who did it, and everybody who's listening to your channel, Brad, knows that it's Rome behind the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, Charles Chiniquy, and all these sources.
Mm-hmm.
It happened in the Ford Theater, where theater is an invention of the Jesuits. So even here you got the information that it happened in a lodge, where the supreme people are looking down to the usual stuff, to the usual play. But it happened in a kind of an entertainment Rome. And it happened in a theater, so a Jesuitical play. Look at this comparison here, please. These are the Muppets in a lodge. In, of course, the Muppet Show. And yes, we are still in Bruce Lee, but Bruce Lee has to wait another 2 sessions. Yeah. But you see, these people are criticizing from the lodge. So these are supreme beings here. These are members of a lodge. In every session they are appearing. Statler and Waldorf are a pair of Muppet characters. This is my absolutely... I'm honest with that. Yeah, this is serious what I'm doing here, but just I want to show you something. From the sketch comedy series The Muppet Show. Man, puppets, Muppets. And are these people being treated by their governments as Muppets, as man puppets hanging from a string, and somebody's pulling the string and people do not know who's pulling the strings, and these people here in the Supreme Lodge, you can see them, for example, as politicians. Yeah, so who's really running the show, who's owning the theater, no one knows, and who's putting the strings, also on Bruce Lee, that's the thing that we have to find out. So, these people are being named after the Statler Hilton and the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Astoria comes from Astor, which is one of the very prominent visitors of the Titanic. So, in this Muppet show, these characters who are supreme beings, these are influential people because they have been named after big hotels, and usually they don't come cheap, but these are people who are really into the mammon. Yeah, so the mammon rules everything. Statler and Waldorf are been named after these 2 hotels. Okay, I'm just rushing through this because everybody knows the Muppet Show. But the Muppet Show is also a Hollywood project, started in 1955, and has something to do with programming. Yeah, has something to do with programming. For example, has been attributed by Frank Oz, like the Wizard of Oz, and has also ties to the Sesame Street. So this is the stuff that little people, as little children, are getting. Also with numerous acts from the show business. Alice Cooper, for example, Elton John. Yeah, so sodomites and the alike, horror actors and all the stuff, they are being shown to the young audience, and they're making fun of it. And you won't see why I have shown the Muppets here, but wait to find out. You will see why I have looked into the Muppet Show and this lodge. Yeah, so they are also been interconnected with these Muppets Wizard of Oz, with really programming and leading the people on the yellow brick road. Not by accident, they have also used that pentagram like in the original Wizard of Oz, which is from coming from a Theosophical Society. That original script here. Yeah, but let's have the shortcut. You see that everything is a big agenda. If there is one movie which has influenced my entire life from the get-go when I was young, when I was a teenager, it was The 39 Steps. The 39 Steps is a 1935 British spy thriller film directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock, by the way, went to St. Ignatius College in London. And Alfred Hitchcock is not been known for very nice movies. He's known for horror movies, for Psycho, for The Birds, for Marnie, and all this stuff. Yeah? So for horror movies, actually. And killing people. So Alfred Hitchcock studied at the London County School, and he has received a strict Jesuit education Hitchcock received at St. Ignatius is often cited as an influence on his film, and this is a quote here. Hitchcock said that at St. Ignatius, so that is the Ignatius of Loyola, that was the first general of the Jesuits, he learned important things, quote unquote, a strong sense of fear, how to be realistic, and Jesuit reasoning power. The fear, the realism mixed with fancy, the reasoning power and discipline of ordered thinking, these were the cornerstones of his art. No director was more disciplined, more ordered in his thinking. His unusual, meticulous methods were key to his films and success. This movie, The 39 Steps, featured Robert Donat and Madeleine Carroll. It is loosely based on the 1915 novel The 39 Steps by John Buchanan. But who's John Buchanan? He is GCMG, GCVO, CHPCDL. This is the Knight Grand Cross of the Order of St. Michael and St. George. This is the Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order. This is the Companion of Honor. And this is the Privy Council of the United Kingdom, directly related to the Queen and Deputy Lieutenant. That is not an ordinary writer. He's not. This is Mr. Buchanan. He was even General Governor of Canada. That guy was a Scottish, very important here, Scottish novelist, historian, politician, blah, blah, blah. And he wrote that script or that story of the 39 Steps. He was at the British War in the Propaganda Bureau. Propaganda, we know, that is the sending out of cardinals. The Committee of Cardinals in charge of foreign mission of the Catholic Church. That means propaganda, actually. He was working in the war for the British Propaganda Bureau. And that novel featured a hero called Richard Hannay and was loosely based on a friend of Buchanan. And then later he was being attached to the British Army General Headquarters Intelligence Section. So we're speaking of a spy here. We're speaking of somebody from the intelligence who was high-ranking knight directly attached to the Queen. And he wrote that novel. Huh? Interesting? I think so. Then later he was a second lieutenant on the intelligence corps, and later he was appointed as the director of information in 1917. That's not an ordinary guy. And therefore he has come up with a spy story, The 39 Steps. The 39 Steps in itself is concerning a Canadian civilian in London, Richard Hannay. Think of it again, Canadian, and that guy, that author, is also a Canadian governor. Richard Hannay, who becomes caught up in preventing an organization of spies called the 39 Steps from stealing British military secrets. Mistakenly accused of the murder of a counter-espionage agent, Hannay goes on the run to, Brad, look at this, Scotland, and becomes tangled up with an attractive woman, Pamela, while hoping to stop the spy ring and clear his name. The 39 Steps. These are the 33 steps. The steps of Freemasonry, Scottish Rite. 39 steps. Steps, Scottish Rite. So either we can assume that he wants to fool us, or we can assume that there are more than 33 steps in the Scottish Rite, or we can assume that he's just playing with words and that he's just having a reference here to some hierarchy or to some lodges. Let's find out. In that movie itself, the police has been displayed as New Scotland Yard. Has something to do with Scotland, I think. And it heavily relies on that man is called Mr. Memory. He's a character in that spy movie, The 39 Steps. And he's been based on William James Morris Bottle, who performed in music halls from 1901 onwards as Data's The Memory Man. He combined his prodigious ability to recall facts with his quick wit and necessity for dealing with hecklers in the audience. Hitchcock retold, there was another interesting character in the film, Mr. Memory. He's based on a true live music hall personality called Datas. The audience would ask him questions about major events like, when did the Titanic sink? Haha, Titanic, what coincidence. And he would give the correct answer. The whole idea is that the man is doomed by his sense of duty. Mr. Memory knows what the 39 steps are, and when he is asked the question, he is compelled to give the answer. The character is based on a real person named Datas. I said, okay, let's look it up. This is Datas, the original Memory Man. He sold his brains to doctors for £2,000 in 1904, but he outlived them all. This brain he rated as the heaviest in the world was then sold to King's College when he died in 1956. He was the inspiration of Mr. Memory in the 1935 Hitchcock version of the 39 Steps. Hitchcock had seen Datas to perform as a child, and I said, that's interesting. There's even a video showing his grave. And that grave is equipped or displayed with an S. An S.
An IHS, Michael.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm. Clever, huh?
Yeah.
Clever.
You know, this is what Satan does. He leaves his mark, doesn't he? And right on the cross.
Yeah.
How convenient.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that guy had a visual memory, so let's say he was trying to remember the Great Fire of London. He'd remember 666. Oh, sorry, 1666. What a coincidence. It's 666, huh? Bible, anybody?
Kind of like the Great Fire of, what was it? What was that ancient Roman city? Rome, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Fire of Rome? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Ring a bell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that Mr. Memory was really in existence a little bit earlier. 39 Steps, a serious question, please. And he's called Datas. That is his name, so his artist name. Huh? You have no idea this man was essentially the human Wikipedia. Yeah, if you believe it, okay. Datas. Brett, I got something for everybody. This is Data from Star Trek. Data is a fictional character in the Star Trek franchise. His positronic brain allows him impressive computational capabilities. Yeah, he's an android. Data, not with an S, but data means he can store much data. So he's a so-called living humanoid hard disk drive. Data, and I think that he's based on Datas. Data was in many ways a successor of the original Star Trek Spock, in that character has superior mental skills and offers an outsider's perspective on humanity. Ring a bell with artificial intelligence, anybody? By the way, Star Trek Spock, Leonard Nimoy, look at this. This is his Venuvian greetings or Venuvian salute, which is nothing more than Satan's victory. And by the way, I hope that you can see it here on the tarot card, the Devil, which is tarot card 15. You see a pentagram here. You see the goat of Mantis or the fallen one Yeah, you see two chained male, female. Yeah, because everything is bound in a materialism is bound to Satan here. And by the way, do you see that hand gesture here, which is exactly the same hand gesture at the Venusian salute from Mr. Spock? So Mr. Spock.
Could you zoom in? Could you zoom in on that just a little bit, Michael? Thank you.
Yes. I thought I had it.
Thank you. Yeah, that helps. Wow.
Huh?
Indeed.
Yes. Yeah, you see these raised eyebrows, you see this sharp, everything resembles here a goat. Huh? Yeah, so it is. The display, the devil card depicts the devil and the ancient goat god Dionysus showing sitting in his throne while watching over a male and female captive. It represents being seduced by the material world and physical pleasures. Can you imagine why I have shown it in the context of Bruce Lee, the material world and physical pleasures? I think you can. See what I mean? See what I mean? So if you come up with people who can store much in their brain, you will come up one day with the fact that, oh yeah, there's also data which outperforms any human because I know that guy from Star Trek. Star Trek. Sure. I think that quote everybody knows from the last session. We know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. What is the disinformation program? Actually, in short, it's a lie. Yeah, it means we know our lie is complete when everything the American public believes is false. So you can imagine that that the information coming from the CIA, for example, is just plainly false. And this is just coming from, of course, from the one who is the Antichrist spirit, who is not the spirit of truth, but the spirit of error, which we have learned in 1 John. And this is John 8:44, where Jesus said that the Satan or the devil is the liar and the father of it. So, welcome to Charles Manson and the murders that shocked the nation. How they died. Extras and 4 slain in ritual. Oh, in ritual, that means in religious context. Interesting. So, this is your official Wikipedia story. The location is 10050 Cielo Drive. Cielo means celestial, means pertaining to the Christian or pagan heaven.
Can I correct that? Pertaining to the Catholic or pagan
Oh, I'm
heaven.
sorry. Yes, you're correct. Yes. Glad that I have you on
green,
board.
right?
Yeah. Sometimes I get so used with all the lies. So it's really
No,
strange.
it's okay. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Just
so
a little
Cielo-
reminder.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
Cielo Drive is Latin. Cielo means the usual word for sky in most of the Romans. So Roman-like language like French, Spanish, Italian. So that's the road to the sky, or would you like to say the highway? Cielo Drive? It's a sky drive. Transferred sense of heavenly, very delightful in English comes from early 15th century. Also, there is a fixed quote, Celestial Empire, so Sky Empire, China from 1808. I said, oh, interesting. Did not know that. So on the night of August the 8th, Tex Watson, on the according to the order of allegedly Charles Manson, took Susan Atkins, Linda Kasabian, and Patricia Cranwinkle to 10050 Sky Drive in Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles, or the City of Angels, in California. California means Kali, means the snake, and fornication, and where to start? Watson claims that Charles Manson had instructed him to go to the house and totally destroy everyone in it, as gruesome as you can. You heard the story last time. Now the details. The occupants of the house at Cielo Drive that evening were movie actress Sharon Tate, who was 8.5 months pregnant, and the wife of film director Roman Polanski. Her friend and former lover Jay Sebring, a noted celebrity hairstylist, Polanski's friend Wojciech Frykowski, and Frykowski's girlfriend Abigail Folger, Harris to the Folger's coffee fortune, and daughter of Peter Folger. Brett, can you think why I have highlighted here 8.5 months pregnant?
Well,
Okay.
about to give birth. Okay, I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay. Later. Also present was William Garrison, the caretaker, and his friend Stephen Parent. Yeah, that's the one who was just driving to him 11:45 or so in the evening to show him the latest Sony digital clock. Sure. Polanski had an alibi. He was in Europe working on a film. Yes. So after then, they were stabbing and slashing and hanging and shooting and everything else. The first victim allegedly was the one who was sitting in that 1965 AMC Ambassador Coupe, the poor Stephen Parent. Ambassador means Old Spanish from Latin, ambactus means a servant, a vessel. A messenger, a servant. I said, interesting, huh? So first they got rid of the servant or the messenger. Also a Latin word, AMC ambassador. Ambassador has also relation to embassy, means a mission, a charge, a office of an ambassador. I said, interesting that all these coincidences then with Cielo Drive and Ambassador. And I said, there's much more to it. Yeah, remember that Sharon Stone allegedly was 8.5 months pregnant. I did not reveal. Okay. I did not reveal it. Okay. Yeah, then you have to wait. Then somebody was tied up with a towel. Of course, that would be the choice that you use a towel for this. Come on. This is just all the things. So, and the victim, Sharon Tate, which was 8.5 months pregnant, you remember? She was stabbed 16 times, killing her. And I said 16 times, that's easy. Yeah, 16 means the tower where, for example, the World Trade Center, where people had been destroyed, fallen around the tower, destruction, chaos, awakening, sudden change, and all the like. Yeah, this is also the Crowley version of the tower with the one eye symbol. I said, interesting symbol, with the dragon and all these things there. And the tower looks a little bit, medieval, huh? The coroner's inquest found that Tate was still alive when she was hanged with the nylon rope. Although the case was blah blah blah, you do not need to know this. You can look it up on Wikipedia. If you believe Wikipedia, I'm sorry, but you have to look at it from the perspective of a ritual killing, because she was slain and she was hanged. She was hanged. Interesting. Also, if you believe the official narrative. Hanged man. Tarot card, the hanged man. Yeah, upside down. So that is also the refusal of Christ. It's not the Peter's cross. Peter never was in Rome. Don't let be fooled by the Roman Catholic Church. This is the hanged man. This is the to ridicule Christ. Yeah, that's the hanged man. It's also a symbol for death, of course. Yeah, but you also have in other rituals, everything is a ritual. You have the hanged man. That's the World Trade Center. Yeah, like the hanged man. Huh? One leg on top. So, this is my solution to it. When I know that it seems to be a ritual, then she was 8.5 months pregnant. Simple, huh? A plus 1 plus 2 means 11. That is a Freemason code for Genesis chapter 11.
Oh, my. Wow. Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 through 4. And the whole earth was of one language. Oh, you're learning English, Michael. And of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Babylon, eh?
Yeah, I found it very interesting with the 8.5 months pregnant. Usually here in Germany, we are counting the months. So she's in the 8th month or the 9th month. Usually you don't say in the 8.5 months. Usually you count the weeks. Yeah, or you say she's in the 9th month or 2 weeks before, or what else? But 8.5, it's very strange. So it gets to 11. And if you think I'm far-fetched, let's look it up. Yeah, this is the Tower of Babel. And this is Europe, many tongues, one voice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the famous poster.
The famous poster. Yeah, with all the pentagrams.
Square heads.
Inverted satanic pentagrams. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's much more to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall. And then one of the members is called Nick Mason. Okay. Yeah, we don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. Yeah, you tell that these poor children who had to sit in the classroom for years with face masks. Yeah, we don't need no thought control. Huh? They're all indoctrinated. And Bricks and Stones also reminds me of that famous band called the Rolling Stones. With these tongues sticking out here. Which is, of course, a symbol for the snake, or would you like to go to the Indian Rome with their gods, it's the god of Kali. Yeah, so stones are worshipping Kali, and Kali is one component of California. California, the fornication of Kali, the goddess Kali. Kali. Huh? Yeah. And 11, of course, can also have a reference to 9/11, your famous emergency call in the United States. Yeah, that is speaking of a king over them, the angel of the bottomless pit, which, of course, is nothing else and nowhere near, and this is, of course, Satan. Okay. But the 11, 8.5 months pregnant, you find it also on Apollo 11, for example. Or in Roman numerals, you find that with the Twin Towers. Yeah, that's 1 and 1. Yeah, it's not 11 because 11 is X1, I know that. But it's also flight number 11. Yeah, so you, supposedly. Yeah, so you have it everywhere, the 11. Okay, that's coming from the session American Rituals. And it's very interesting when you find about this California, means Californication from that rock band Red Hot Chili Peppers. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Yeah, it's Californication. Yeah, so it's the fornication of the goddess Kali. Kali, goddess, forgot. Yeah, with their tongues sticking out in almost every picture here. Huh? Tongues sticking out, that's Kali. Okay. So, many people proclaim, oh yeah, drugs were the problem. Somebody was dealing drugs. Wojciech Frykowski, that's the one to blame, or dealing drugs with them. And they had a drug encounter. And many people are just... then going full force into this poor Sharon Tate being slaughtered, including being pregnant 8.5 months. And they claim, okay, this is murdered innocence. Okay, if it would be that case, then the only innocent person would be the baby. Baby means the inhabitant of Babylon, would mean the unborn child. I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. Yeah, but there are numerous pages of Sharon Tate. She was so good looking, she was so nice, she had a great voice, and she was so innocent. Okay. Yeah, my comment to murdered innocence is this. Yeah, it's a pink facepalm because you have been framed. You have been framed. We have all been framed. Yeah? Does that look like murdered innocence? Sharon Tate. It's really interesting if you combine that name, Sharon Tate, you can also put it together as Satan. I'm not joking. And she's not reliable because that were their parents, obviously. But she was made in the USA, and she's here as a Sagittarius. I said, oh, Sagittarius, there was something with the Golden Gate Bridge. Ah, Sagittarius, interesting. Huh? So she's depicted here with the bow and arrow. Sagittarius, okay. And of course with all the pentagrams. And one pentagram, and don't you dare to think of that pentagram in the middle, between her two, obviously without any breasts, is an American pentagram. No, it isn't. It isn't. And she is portrayed as being innocent. She's totally innocent. She's absolutely innocent. Yeah. Okay. She's an actor. She's portraying herself almost naked, but she's totally innocent, of course. Yeah. And this is a picture here, which we see later here. This is a picture of the alleged 3 daughters of Mrs. and Mr. Tate. Yeah. Hence the name. We will go to this later. Yeah. I think we have been framed. There are numerous agencies out there who are just being busy to make movies on propaganda and all this stuff. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. These are just framing. You have a beautiful young wife, a pregnant one, and she's been murdered. You see, it can't get any more horrendous and evil like this, you think. Yeah? So, she is murdered innocence. Yeah? Allegedly, she was studied, she was well educated. Look at her head. That head has another meaning. That is not a book on top. That is just the explanation of the word. It's not my explanation. If you got a square on your head, that can mean anything else. But if you are familiar with the 11, maybe you can come up to my conclusion. And of course, she was totally innocent. That's why she was dressing like this. Or like this. Or like this. By the way, that's Tony Curtis. Whose real name is not Tony Curtis. And she's innocent, as you see. She's totally innocent. Yeah, she has a hard time remembering where all her clothes went. She is totally innocent. Huh? She is absolutely innocent. And what does she have to do with Bruce Lee? You can ask yourself. Yeah, you see. Yeah, she took lessons from Bruce Lee. And they were close by. And then later on, she married then Roman Polanski, a director, and all the things. Yeah. So, of course, she was innocent because she was murdered by the so-called Manson family. Weirdo in Tate murder. Yeah. So that Tex Watson, Charles Watson, has then murdered Sharon Tate and her unborn child. This is the official narrative story. Actress and forced slain in ritual. I said, okay, ritual, I know, yes, religious killing, but where's the religion then? Yeah? So what's that a kind of a killing? Okay, then I found out, okay, that Mr. Manson allegedly is a leader of a satanic cult. He was being programmed with the Beatles music on Helter Skelter. I said, yes, okay, that's a ritual, of course. Yeah, it must be, so there must be Satanists. That would explain everything, I think. And then I looked at the headline once again on the Daily News and I said, 11 murders. I said, 11? Once again. I said, that's strange. Always this. But it must be a religious ritual because it is ritual slayings. Okay. These are the victims, by the way. Yeah. And can't get more evil than this. So they're not defending themselves, but they are boasting with it. Yeah, so there must be real Satanists, Even in Germany, they say, the girls of Satan killed the film star. And look at this eyes. Yeah, this man is possessed and is evil to the core. The killing of Sharon Tate. The killing of the state. Yeah, the killing of Sharon Tate. Exclusive story by Susan Atkins. Yes, and of course you have to believe it. Yeah. So when Charles Manson allegedly died, the one with the swastika on his head, it is not tolerance in the media and said, he was a poor guy, he was misled. No, they are just telling you that Charles Manson burns in hell. So that means that's another religious content. Hell is religious content. Charles Manson. And he did not kill Sharon Tate, for crying out loud. Officially he gave only the orders, but he was sentenced because he gave the orders. Oh my, if every, for example, religious or cult or military leader would be sentenced to jail if he would have made an order that his troops would going to kill somebody, then the jail would be full of military personnel, I think, Brett, huh? So, this is all a frame. Yeah? This is all a frame. This is the official frame. This is all the frame. This is the official
This is a very
narrative.
recent photo, isn't that?
Sorry, come again?
This one right here of that woman, I forget her name.
But, Leslie Van Houten. Sorry. Leslie Van Houten,
Yeah.
that's the name, yeah.
She's going to be released from jail. Is this a recent photo, correct?
And that looks like praying here, huh?
Right.
Yeah. So religious context. And even there are police officers who discovered the body. So this entire story has been verified by authorized personnel. Yeah, you got the you got the official coroners. Yeah, you got the police guys. You got these people who said that yes, we have killed him, killed her, etc. And they are just boasting with that. Yeah, Bob Burbidge was one of the first police officers on the scene of the first Manson murders. He said he can never erase the memories of the horrors he saw 50 years ago, brutal violence and the alike. So one of the killers, Susan Atkins, said, yes, Tex Watson came in and said, I am the devil and I'm here to do the devil's business. So another religious killing. Yeah, she said Sharon Tate begged for her life and for the life of her baby, but she had absolutely no feeling. I could have felt nothing. I have absolutely no feelings. Yeah, she had just a cold-blooded murder. That's what she tells. Once again, you are on a trial for murder, and then you're boasting with it? How smart is that? Usually she could have said, oh, I was under the drugs, I was under the influence, and maybe she would have gotten a lesser fine or a lesser penalty. Sorry, fine is, I'm not a native English speaker, but I said, oh yeah, why they are boasting with that? I said, okay, that's interesting because that Susan Atkins also has a problem with clothes. For example, she was a stripper and she was being... one of the members of that very interesting comedy club called the Church of Satan in San Francisco. Yeah, you know, the city of Saint Francis, San Francisco, with the Anton Sana LaVey, who has erased that church officially on Walpurgis night on the 30th of April 1966. Yeah, and she's allegedly the one in the back. Yeah, so she was a member of the Church of Satan. So everything points at Satan. Also, the motor group 1% means we are ready to use violence. We do not obey orders. Anyone outside our club, straight Satans. Yeah, so everything in the case of Manson murders is Satan. Yeah, so Charles Manson actually is a Satanist. Then Susan Atkins was in the Church of Satan and they have connections with the straight Satan. So everything points to Satan. Interesting. I have my reasons why I've never mentioned John Todd. Because that guy is some strange character and officially he was being harassed for drugs and raping girls and all the stuff. And that so-called informer, he said he was a high-ranking witch. Usually he had sorcery because witch is a female attribution as far as I know, but I'm not in that cult. Yeah, so he said, oh yeah, that Charles Manson was demon-possessed. I said, okay, I have to believe it, huh? Yeah, and they have something to do with a cult called The Process, and that's the only brotherhood I worry about because these people wanted to kill me. I said, where is this guy coming from? And nobody actually knows. Yeah, but he then has been sent to a mental asylum. And okay, you see that I don't buy the official narrative, but I have a hard time believing John Todd, because you can believe me or not, but in the past few years I have listened for extensive hours to his testimonies, according to castles who has built some stairways for the witches to land. And that's why I said then, okay, I stop it, because I don't think that he's a reliable character. So everybody can make some claims. He said there are witches who take spells on recordings and so many interesting stuff. But I was never convinced of John Todd, and you will soon see why. He said there are brotherhoods. I worry about it as a process. Yeah, they are into human sacrifices. They have the inner and the outer process. There are nice people on the outer process, but they are really Satanists on the inner process. Yeah, about human sacrifice. And they turn everything around. Yahweh is the evil God, and I know all the stuff from memory. So the outer process church, yeah. So it's a satanic cult, yeah. Satanic bike rider, satanic Susan Atkins, satanic Charles Manson. Everything is satanic in the ritual killings of Sharon Tate. Therefore, it must be a human sacrifice of a mother with her unborn child. So. He says, so John Todd, that strange character, he says the other characters at Cielo Drive in that house, they were just there by accident. And Sharon Tate, she wanted out of that circle of Satanists. Yeah, and her husband has an alibi in Europe, and he ordered the entire attack. And yeah, she wanted to have the baby. He apparently didn't want to have the baby. And so she wanted out, and you don't get out unless you have Christ. And so they have slain her. Yeah, so she wanted to have the baby, and she didn't want the baby to raise up. It's wrongly translated here. And she wanted out, and they didn't let her. So somebody, allegedly, he has then called and engaged some Satanists who have slewn her and her unborn child. Yeah. So it's a very strange story there. It's a very strange story here. But of course, that story has been backed up by all the authorities, by all the officials, by the coroner of the so-called stars, Thomas Noguchi. So everybody has the blessings of the authorities, so to speak. Yeah, so the coroner said, yeah, that happened this way. The police department said, oh yeah, that was a horrific sight. The killers are boasting with it, and everything has to do with Satan. Or has it?
What?
Very convincing, huh? And all the blood. And pig on the outside of the door. Yeah, the problem is that we have found out in the last session that nothing really fits in that narrative. And then I found a very interesting, yeah, that's the LaBianca murders. It's also using pigs, yeah, and this is bloodstains, and the poor victims are lying here, and the American flag, where you see upside down.
Yeah, right.
Upside down. I said, oh. Don't fool me, please, yeah? Who is having an American flag upside down on his sofa? Who's using American flag? Sharon Tate was American, but Roman Polanski was Polish. Where is the Polish flag? This is just a question I'm raising. Yeah? So LAPD and everybody says it's horrible, and Charles Manson was being programmed by Beatles song Piggies and by Helter Skelter and all the stuff. Yeah, and then of course the police messed it up by contaminating any evidence that could have been on the blood splatter. Yeah. The gun grip was found under the chair, and of course they left the evidence on the scene. And then they threw out their blood-stained clothes out of the car. So it seems a little bit like they wanted to be caught. Yeah, so the scene was contaminated by officers who walked in and out of the crime scene in Los Angeles. Yeah, at a house of celebrities, at that ritual slaying of several people. It's hard to believe, but it's of the official narrative, huh? Because don't forget, yeah, the official frame is that Sharon Tate is murdered innocent. Yeah, officially she did not tell Roman that she was pregnant until she was already 4 months pregnant. Oh, so much for trust and honesty in the relationship, huh? Yeah. And of course, Roman was more playboy than anything else. So it's very strange that they have bought a house and that they were getting married, because Polanski actually is at least a playboy. And not only Polanski. Polanski is a director. So he's directing movies with young women, for example, Sharon Tate, or for example, Natasha Kinski. Or some people say Satan's skin, Natasha Kinski. You can also, but it's not her to blame for that. Yeah, for example, that he directed Tess of the D'Urbervilles with the Stonehenge in the background. Very interesting. Very interesting. So a sacrificial place. Yeah, come on, that's not a sun clock. Yeah, that's just the exoteric explanation of it. It's not a sun clock, huh? And the daughter of Sharon Tate, she said, my, we had such a great time there in 1969. We were on the foot of the bed and watching the moon landing and the moonwalk. I said, can't be Michael Jackson, but must be this. Yeah, she said, actually, the whole family watched the moon landing. I said, yes, another Freemason ritual.
Michael, zoom in on that
panel.
Yeah.
I expected that.
Ever since you pointed this out, Michael, all of my friends that I talk to, I asked them, so do you really believe the official narrative of going to the moon? I even asked my brother, for goodness sakes. And he says, my brother goes, if we went to the moon, how come, how many years has it been now? 50 some years? How come we haven't gone back? That's a very good question.
Yeah, you see, this is just a student work here. Yeah, so that you do with at the age of 10 or 11. Yeah, please, mother, please hand over the screwdriver.
And all the little handkerchiefs they put on there hanging down, and the tinfoil, gold tinfoil and copper tinfoil.
Yeah, and the big thrust here. Yeah, you see.
The crater. Yeah,
you don't see any crater. Yeah, and you don't see any stars, but you can quite easily.
You don't see any stars. All you see is just pure black.
Yeah, the NASA, the astronauts have said, no, we didn't see any stars, but later on it was revealed that, the question was wrong. Yeah, they did see the stars while circling around the moon, but not on the moon, because it was so bright there. Sorry, guys, that seems to be cement. Yeah, that is not the moon. I can tell you why. Because it's just pure, simple physics. Yeah. Once again, you got the 11. Ne? This time is Apollo not 8.5 months pregnant. Yeah, and it's also not Flight 11 into the World Trade Center, but it's Apollo 11. Apollo, is a Roman god. Roman once again, like anything else. Yeah, how did they land without having any crater turbulences here? And with that apparatus, I would not trust myself that thing goes 1 inch up in the air. Yeah. And there relies life relies on this. It's so ridiculous. So this is all staged. Why is it staged? Because I believe it's staged. I have a hard time believing it that everything went according to plan. At least when I saw this murdered innocent Sharon Tate, her father, was in army intelligence. I said, what a coincidence. Every time I come up with something, these people have some ties to intelligence, and it's not only her father. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, she was educated in the Passal Air Base in Verona in Italy. So Mrs. Sharon Tate, the murder's innocence, she was educated in the army facility in Italy. Ring a bell? Italy, there was some capital city in Italy which messes around with the entire world for centuries now. Huh? Yeah, so she is not a murdered innocent. Her father is army, or in close terms, think of disinformation tactics. So maybe it happened not this way, but any other way. Yeah, so let's assume it happened that way. But she's not murdered innocents. That is a picture of a 1960 military journal. At that point of time, she's born in 1943, for example. Yeah, so Sharon Tate is posing, riding a rocket on a U.S. Army. This is a phallus symbol, guys, huh?
Mm-hmm. Just go back to that session we did on the whole thing with, what was the title of this one, Michael, where we went into the early stuff with NASA and Werner von Braun and all that. What was that session we did? Can't even recall the name of it.
Was Science is a New Religion, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. Science
or American Rituals in the conspiracy series.
Okay.
Yeah, so here, you see here, she's born 43 and in Dallas, John F. Kennedy. She was 17 years old. She was underage. Yeah, she was underage. So you can tell she studied in the army facility in Italy. She posed riding on a rocket in an army journal when being underage, so she needed the approval of her parents. In my humble opinion. So they said, yes, you are a poster girl for the United States Army. So that was the beginning of my interest, and I said, okay, maybe that stuff is an army project. Because her father is army, she's posing for the army, she's going in a facility in Italy for the army. Come on, murdered innocents? Yeah. What about all these guys here? Jay Sebring, a celebrity hairstyle, whose original name is not Jay Sebring. I said, I smell something. He is supposed her former boyfriend. And of course, Roman Polanski had nothing against that he was visiting Sharon on a regular basis. I said, so much for murdered innocence. Oh, she looks so innocent, huh? Yeah. But they won't believe us that she's into Satanism. Yeah. Do you believe in magic? Yeah, she was portrayed here in that movie, Eye of the Devil. Yeah, so once again, that's just devils, and there are rituals, and yeah, you see what's going on. Yeah, this is 1966. And I said, my, you've been framed. You've been framed. There is absolutely, in my humble opinion, there is not much room that it happened that way, that they are telling you, because the wounds does not fit, the location does not fit, the entire narrative does not fit. And I got other things to come up. So I think it's the same as in the moon landing ritual, which happened few weeks before, in July 1969. And that happened here on 8th to 9th August of 1969. So we have been framed. Including me, because I have to look it up. And usually I thought, oh yeah, Manson, that was the guy who murdered. And no, Manson did not murder these people. Yeah, and this is just a frame. This is just a frame. And I got two interesting authors who come up with the same idea. This is scripted reality. Yeah, it's a television. Entertainment is a subgenre of reality television, and these things are pre-arranged. Yeah, so they appear as if they have some other content, and this is just scripted. Yeah, so these people, they know to play their role. Also, I highly suppose that these people in this Manson community, they are not what these evil killers as they are portrayed. I would highly doubt that. Yeah. So, I think that is a ritual. The 9/11 Sharon Tate ritual, as one website points it out. Why 9/11? Well, it's quite simple. It happened not on the 11th of September or on the 9th of November, but it's quite interesting because 9/11 is involved in that Sharon Tate ritual killing. Because ritual, the official narrative mass media tells you ritual. Why is it a ritual? 9/11. Yeah. that's a Porsche model. A 911 is the car that the former boyfriend of Sharon Tate, Mr. Jay Sebring, was driving, and that car was in that area of Cielo Drive 10050 on the official pictures of that estate. Was that Porsche parking? Yeah? So I said, okay, that's a very smart move, very smart way to tell the insiders, it was a 9/11 ritual. Yeah, I know you think that's far-fetched. That's because you are not, you are just following the official narrative. But remember, we are speaking of a director called Roman Polanski. We are speaking of
Michael, look at that. Talk about, that's interesting you put this photo up. Can you zoom in above her head to the left?
This, you mean this here?
Yeah.
This crown?
Yeah. It's a crown. Okay.
I think.
Well, it's really interesting how that almost looks like a IXXI to me. From this distance, but it's not. But it's an MR, isn't it? Or something to that, maybe MRV or VR.
No, I haven't checked that out because I got so much material, Brad, that it seems never ending. Yeah,
but that seems to me like almost like an IXXI symbolism, which is also 9/11. So go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, that is from that movie, The Fearless Vampire Hunters. Or The Fearless Vampire. Yeah.
But yeah, you know as well as I do, Michael, and I think many others that listen to this channel, that that is an ancient Roman Catholic, insignia actually is Maria. There's an M and an A. Kind of similar to this little carving above Sharon Tate's head, or whoever that is, right? Is that Sharon Tate?
Yes, yeah. Sharon Tate with a red wig. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, so it's very similar to that, and it's in the Roman Catholic Church. You can see it on their altars even. There are churches that have that insignia, the Maria insignia on the altar itself. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, so she's just an actress, in that movie. And later on, she posts a nude for Playboy also in that outfit. Yeah, so come on, murdered innocence. Hi. We're talking about a director here. We're talking about an actress. Oh, my. So my hypothesis is that all murders are, of course, religious killings, because it's just the Holy Spirit on the one hand and the errors spirit, or the Antichrist spirit of Antichrist on the other hand. And of course, when Cain slew Abel, that was the spirit of Antichrist. So all killings are religious killings, because this is happening in the belief that it is a right to kill, that men are God and they can kill. Yeah, so all murders are in the wrong belief that they are actually gods, that they can take life as they please, that they don't have to obey any god. Yeah, so of course, all killings are religious killings. And all actors, so Polanski is a director and an actor in that movie, and Sharon Tate is an actress, and officially they met each other here and fell in love and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all these actors are liars because they violate one of the 10 commandments, that you shall not bear false witness. But actors and actresses, they always are bearing false witnesses, so they are all liars. Yeah, so
well, it's really simple, actually, Michael. There's an old definition of being a hypocrite, and there are many references. Even Jesus in Matthew 23, when he was rebuking the scribes and the Pharisees and calling them, hypocrites. When you look at the Greek meaning of a hypocrite, it is to wear a mask. It is to act, to become an actor. Yes. So hypocrites. Yeah. I mean, they're teaching us to be hypocrites. And that's fun, huh? a form of entertainment.
Yeah, I guess that these actors are serving an agenda, actually. I looked it up today, what agenda actually means. And agenda means theological matters of practice, things to believe, matters of faith.
Almost like dogma.
Mm-hmm. So we know that we are living in a world of lies, and actors, of course, are just portraying and boosting all these lies. What's happening here actually in that Sharon Tate case? Could it be that it is involved in Freemasonry? Freemasonry also is portraying, displaying pentagrams. Freemasonry is using zodiacs. Freemasonry is using all that stuff. Yeah. For example, the 4th of July, where usually people say, yeah, that's a day of celebration in the United States, is also the day when the Sun and Orion's belt rise together. So could have been also a second meaning, Brett. So we know who is ruling the world. This is just the Antichrist spirit, the religious spirit of the brain, is in the Vatican. The finance is in London, City of London Corporation, and the military power, of course, pentagram, Washington obelisk, not Washington monument, but is an obelisk. The military power is in the United States. So these are just symbols of the worship of the Antichrist. Osiris, or Nimrod, or Baal, Shaft. It's the same. Yeah, it's July the 20th was the moon landing ritual, for example. Yeah, July 20 was also the date for the German resistance of that faked assassination on Adolf Hitler. Yeah, these are just coincidences. It's all
really? I never knew that, Michael. Interesting.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure.
I was also thinking about, one could make the argument that the city of what's the name now? I even forget. Washington, D.C., this district of Columbus. One could make the argument that since that was a successful city, that this is the whole goal of the Counter-Reformation was to create this military structure called the Corporation of the United States of America. And the people just won't get it because they're not instructed in the esoteric view that you have, say, in Europe. In the United States, they don't have an esoteric view. They have an exoteric view. They just take the common knowledge and run with it. They don't think about it. They don't question it. They don't read their Bibles on their own. They have their priests. They have their pastors. There's a lot to it, actually. It's not simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very time consuming. Yeah, that's why I always hope to save people some time. Yeah, so if you don't have to rely on me, but if you really do research, you see that many things in California have been set up by the government, or just more specific by the military, or even more specific by the Secret Service. So the first hint that I would suggest is Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon, Laurel Canyon and Covered Orbs and the Dark Heart of the Hippie Dream. We're speaking of 1969 here. We're speaking of the end of the 1960s. And this Sharon Tate killing, or Manson family, this has much to do with the Vietnam War, which we will soon find out. So this is a very interesting book, or PDF. And I have uploaded more than 20 sessions about all these chapters one by one on my second channel, and I hope to remember that. I'm not Mr. Memory, I'm not data. to upload it on my second channel with the appropriate link so that you can listen to that as an audiobook. It's from David McGowan. And David McGowan is the same guy which we have mentioned in the Science is a New Religion series when it came down to the moon landing, the Apollo moon landing. Yeah, so that's the same David McGowan with the wagging the moon doggy. And that David McGowan, he was then having a turbo cancer, so to speak, and he was not living much long. That's very sad. But because he was a really clever mind. He was a clever guy. And he was a clever guy, and I looked up in that book here of David McGowan, Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon, and I said, okay, let's have it for Tate. Tate. Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate. I said, oh yeah, they are. When I came across the fact that, of course, yeah, Jim Morrison from The Doors, his father was a high-ranking military official. He even directed the boat in the Vietnam War, what has been allegedly attacked and caused the outbreak of the Vietnam War. Wow.
Oh, was that something about the Gulf of Tonkin or something?
Yes, exactly. The Gulf of Tonkin, yes. Yeah, that's his father. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that is very interesting when you see all these connections in these Laurel Canyon. Let's try Paul Tate. Sharon Tate was the daughter of Lieutenant Colonel Paul Tate, a career U.S. Army intelligence officer, and Nancy Sinatra is, of course, the daughter of Francis Albert Sinatra, whose known associates included Lucky Luciano, Meyer Lansky, Sam Giancana, Kennedy, anybody? Carlo Gambino, Gaetano Lucchese, and Joseph Figetti, a cousin of Al Capone. Frank Sinatra was also a client of the hairdresser to the star Jay Sebring, as was Henry Fonda, who at one time, strangely enough, lived at the guest house in 10050 Cielo Drive. I said, It's all in the family. It's all in the family. I said, that's very interesting to start from. So when you have really inhaled that book here, Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon, you see all the stuff that the CIA, even they created rock bands like the Grateful Dead and supplied them with free of charge LSD. Just to find out on a field experiment, like 50 years later in 2019, like to find out in a great field experiment with billions of people voluntarily freelancing into never ever experienced medical, what else? Brad?
Yeah.
Guinea pigs. Pigs.
Right. Guinea pigs.
Yeah. So they had a complete culture here with the Canyon Country Store and all the stuff. So that was a complete neighborhood then. And don't forget, I haven't forgotten Bruce Lee, but he's not part of it yet. He will be part of that later. Yeah. Remember that the official founder of the Church of Satan, where one's member was allegedly Susan Atkins, who stabbed several people in that fateful night to death, and she said, I had no feelings of it. He said, the TV set of Satanic Family altar has grown more elaborate since the early 50s, from the tiny fuzzy screen to huge entertainment centers covering entire walls with several TV monitors. What started as an innocent respite from everyday life has become in itself a replacement for real life for millions, a major religion of the masses. We are talking about masses. Religion for the masses, or the Antichrist movement, Antichrist spirit, or the people on the Broadway. And it's by no coincidence that this theatre mile is called the Broadway. Yeah. So we are not mixing apples and oranges and peaches and herb here, but we are speaking about that it looks like an army project. Yeah. She is being presented here as a kind of Whore of Babylon, yeah? Come on, that's not murdered innocence, huh? I can enlarge it a bit and you see what's it up. This is from Esquire. A Beginner's Guide to Mao Zedong, the Chinese leader, which was Jesuitically trained, starring Sharon Tate, 1967. Once again, I said that is not the pentagram of the United States, and she is not murdered innocence. Yeah, she's been displayed as Lolita. Murdered innocence, huh? Wow, how innocent she is looking, huh? So she was murdered by the cult leader Charles Manson. Oh, even the date is incorrect. Oh, my. So, this is the Esquire magazine article. How is Marxist-Leninist theory to be linked with the practice of the Chinese revolution? To use a common expression, it is shooting the arrow at the target. Yeah, you see, you have to fool the audience, yeah, so that you can portray a half-naked lady there, huh? As the arrow is the target, so is Marxism, Leninism to the Chinese revolution. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that is just here a political puppet at the moment for the Esquire magazine, but it gets worse. Sharon Tate for a spread in Esquire magazine 1967, a t-shirt printed with the Vietnam star. That is about the Vietnam War. So may I assume that the entire thing happening in that Laurel Canyon, where David McGowan had so elaborately written about in Weird Scenes at the Canyon, has something to do with the Vietnam War? Isn't that the anti-war movement that is just a prick in the eye of the government of the United States? So clearly it is attributed to Vietnam at the Esquire magazine, and Vietnam has quite another story. Vietnam, why did we go from the Night of Malta, Avro Manhattan? It is a religious war. The religious beginnings of an unholy war, or Spelly's War, Cardinal Spellman's War. It is about the elimination of the Buddhists in Vietnam, so it is a religious task where the Buddhists even had been monks, they had burned themselves. It was a religious war. We have talked about that in the Kennedy session of Cardinal War, session 50. So it has a religious content, that Sharon Tate stuff, but it is we have to see the bigger picture. In Vietnam, my son was killed. What for? Of course, these exoteric people, they don't get it. Yeah, why is the American government busy in Vietnam when they do not know that America is just the military power of the Vatican in a Vietnam religious war? Yeah, and that is a broken cross here. That is not a peace symbol. So everything is mixed around. America with the pentagram. Everything is satanic, but they don't get it. And why her son was killed, when that is correct, is just because they do not realize the beast system being represented by the obelisk. That's why.
That's a good way to put it, Michael.
They see the things, but they don't realize it. They hear the things,
you.
but they can't comprehend that.
Well, that's true. And, you know, why is it that we have to view, you know, this monument as a monument?
That's what they tell you, yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's forbidden in the Bible. It's forbidden in the Bible to erect any pillars. I can look for the biblical verse. So that's the case. Yeah, she's not murdered innocence. Yeah, she's a playmate. Yeah, she has posed for Playboy, and you see, she's been posing for the government. Yeah, she was posing for the government, riding on a rocket when she was 17. Come on, she's not an ordinary girl. She's not murdered innocence. Yeah, she's an army asset. It seems. Vietnam star. Yeah, of course. Everybody looks to the Vietnam star, huh? Yeah. My. Really? Yeah? It's all in for the star. Murdered innocence. Yeah? I have to laugh. Sorry. Yeah? And this is just here. Nobody reads the text. Everybody looks at the girl and she's just posing in for war. Yeah? Promoting war or what? This is not a peace movement here. She's an army asset. Once again. She was trained at an army school education. Her father is army, murdered innocence. Yeah, when she's posing for Playboy, and her father, Colonel Paul Tate, worked at the San Presidio Army base in San Francisco. San Francisco, Saint Francis, Jesuit. Saint Presidio of San Francisco is, by the way, is a part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. I said, oh, Golden Gate. That was Sagittarius, and that's by no coincidence that she was posing with a bow and arrow then. Huh? It has something to do. Yeah, that park is overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. Ah, what a coincidence, huh? What a coincidence.
So what is that, Michael? San Francisco, what's the meaning of that? Isn't that San, is that Latin?
Yeah, we have talked about that 2 or 3 sessions ago. That is, it's Saint Francis, and it was officially been founded, I think, by the Dominicans, because the Jesuits were then forbidden at that time. But of course, it's about Saint Francis. They will claim it is Saint Francis of Assisi, the same lie that the current Pope is telling you.
Yeah, exactly. When they really mean Saint Francis Xavier.
Yes.
The co-founder of the Jesuit order, along with Ignatius
and the
Loyola.
one who went to,
to
China.
The east.
Yeah, China. That's why so many Chinese people are then been in Chinatown, in the community of Chinatown in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Including the one who has been born on 27th of November 1940, called Bruce Ji-Lun Fan, or Bruce Lee, with his many names. Yeah, but the father of Sharon Tate, he worked at San Presidio Army in San Francisco. And that is part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area overlooking the Golden Gate. What a coincidence, huh? Mm-hmm. And that Presidio was the headquarters during the Second World War, under the authority of Executive Order 9066, signed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Now, by the way, that's the one who has employed the father of John F. Kennedy as being an ambassador in Great Britain. So, a Freemason, once again, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Freemason, among any other things. During the time when Sharon Tate was allegedly killed, murdered, slaughtered, hanged, and everything else, it was 1969, that was modernized San Presidio, and the Letterman Army Institute of Research was built. So, I presume that that San Presidio, where Sharon Tate's father worked, was still happening, was still working, running. Interesting. As a hospital. Aha. But it was not closed down. It was even used in the Desert Storm War, the first Gulf War, 1991. So, Sharon Tate and Polanski were friends of Dr. Sellers, friends of Peter Sellers, Dr. Strangelove, another commander of the British Empire. You know that CBE is the title of James Bond as well. I said, interesting, but we don't have any time for this. So many things, which I happen to see on the internet when I see interesting videos. So, 1967, she appeared in Playboy. Come on, Playboy with a rabbit, huh? Playboy is a psyop in itself, yeah, programming people to be bunnies. So Playboy in itself is founded by Hugh Hefner in the year of MK Ultra 1953. Yeah, depicting people as butterflies, so mind control. Nothing else. And interesting also that a grown man is being portrayed as boys, huh? So there must be somebody who's directing them, no? Because they're only playboys. I thought they were playmen, but interesting, they are playboys. Huh. Yeah. So the CIA MI6 also have been mixed in with that. CIA agent Michael Hollingshead married Marilyn Cole. He was friend of Roman Polanski and produced his Macbeth film. There we got another link of CIA to Roman Polanski now. I said, now it's getting interesting, huh? So, she's into Playboy and she's into Happy Easter, because we know that Easter is the feast of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It isn't. Easter is a pagan ritual for Tammuz. Yeah, because it changes every year. The date changes every year. But sorry, he only died once. Yeah, one fixed date. If the date is changing, then it's not death date or so, it has another meaning. It is closely related to the moon cycle, so therefore, it has nothing to do with Jesus Christ, and it's just only being the short explanation of that. Yeah? So she's fooling you into a pagan system. Happy Easter with the bunny. Yeah, so she's just a program kitten, or she's just a bunny. At least she's an army asset. Yeah, I think we can agree on that. Yeah. Sharon, by the way, means Rose of the Valley, like Rosenthal, which is a Jewish name, also from a famous German showmaster who is deceased. And she lived there in the Cielo Drive. And Sharon actually means the Rose of Sharon, Rose of the Valley. It's in the Song of Solomon. It's interesting, huh? You see, this is from Songs of Solomon here. I am the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys. So it's also a biblical attribution. Once again, the rose of the valley. Oh, we're not talking about the entire chapter because that would lead us to 6 hours sessions in that. Yeah, but Sharon has been mentioned frequently here in that Bible. In 1969, after the moon landing of Apollo, the media reported about pregnant Sharon Tate murdered by satanic cult of Antichrist figure Charles Manson. Yes, that's the murdered innocence, huh? And he has something to do, I think, with the Mammon, I think, huh? When he is portrayed Rolls Royce, that she has in common with Bruce Lee, who wanted to have his golden Rolls Royce. At least she's got a white Rolls Royce, huh? What a coincidence here. What a coincidence. In 1966, when the Church of Satan had been founded, she was playing her part as an actress in the occult thing, Eye of the Devil. Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, also with the Manson family member Susan Atkins, was then having his Church of Satan. Yeah, all into Satanism, huh? Promoting it right in the eye. Some say also that Manson means the Son of Man. Yeah, that would be a Christ-like figure, which he officially has been portrayed or been sold to the mass media as a kind of savior to the Manson cult. The Devil's Eye, 1966. Sharon Tate in Eye of the Devil. Of course, it's the one I got. Sharon Tate and David Hemmings. David Hemmings from Blow Up, one of the most interesting pictures of 1966, by the way. Yeah, once again, the Devil's Eye. The devil with the Vulcanian salute. That was it. Vulcanian salute. Yes. Yeah. 1967. So many things are happening there. Sharon is the rose of the valley of death. Yeah, so it's the official burying of Sharon Tate. 1967. See here? The rose, or the plant here of death. Then she was playing a Valley of the Dolls. Yeah, so doll program. Okay, this was the first part of 2 parts of the Sharon Tate ritual. I can really promise there will be much coming up in the next part, so that we really look behind all the things that the media wants to sell us. I'm not making fun of anything. I'm just expressing my opinion here based on my research, and you're free to have another opinion about that. I have absolutely no problem with that. Please be polite and please just read the Bible so that you are really in the Christ spirit and not being promoted, not having all this propaganda brainwash of all that mass media. They're not telling you that the father of Sharon Tate is CIA, that she is a CIA asset, that there are many, many ties to military, army intelligence, and all the strange things that are happening in Laurel Canyon. Thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to next time handing it over to my beloved brother Brett.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, this is more of a history of deception in the United States than anything else, and around the world, actually, because the United States has been very influential in the development of the modern society as we live today. And sadly, we're looking at some of the most, deceptive media campaigns that have ever been developed. Obviously, the moon landing was probably the biggest one. And You know, we're not asking for much here. We're just asking that you just sit down and listen. I know it's going to make some people very upset, and that's totally understandable because, you know, the first reaction to truth is anger, because when you admit to being deceived, you admit to having listened to the liar, and it hurts. I know it hurts. It hurt me too. But the point is, you come back tomorrow and look at it again, and things start to change quite a bit. I think Michael can vouch for that too. So we hope not to be deceived, nor do we hope to lead anyone into any deception at all here. Our mission, so to speak, it's not a mission, because we know the missions are the sending out of Jesuits, right, Michael?
Yes.
But, you know, these old habits of ours, Michael, they creep up from time to time, and like it just came out of my mouth. So I'm not infallible here. I'm certainly full of all kinds of compromises. So, again, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in to our research, and I hope to see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye.